Hey everybody, I wanted to do something a little bit different today that's not on our normal Wednesday broadcast on YouTube about Marvy and I and living in the van and traveling. I've had quite a few people ask me about, both privately and in the comments below of the videos, of what kind of footwear and what kind of socks I wear. First of all, for socks, I don't know if you can see these. I've just got a regular pair of kind of nylon blend walking socks, mostly just I got them all from Amazon, and they're good ones. And then I have a very thin sock liner, and it's like a polypropylene synthetic. I bought them, I think it was like 20 bucks for 3 of them, and they're from Fox River, and they're really great. One, they keep your feet dry, and 2, instead of this sock rubbing from the shoe against your skin giving you a blister, you've got this sock liner which is very thin, but this sock, instead of rubbing against your foot giving you a blister, will rub against this sock, reducing the amount of friction, not eliminating, but reducing the amount of friction against your skin. And since this sock is synthetic and there's no cotton in it, it actually, the pressure from the heat being generated away from your body keeps this relatively dry, and therefore if your skin is dry, then I gotta put the socks on because my feet are cold. If your socks are dry, your feet are dry, less chance of blistering. So this is my 2-sock system. It's nothing I created or patented. Been around for years and years and years. I've hiked a lot of the Appalachian Trail back in the 70s using a 2-sock system. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about shoes. One of the problems, if you walk across the United States or walk on the road, it's very different from trails. Again, in the 70s, you had these huge, giant leather hiking boots with thick Vibram soles, and and you don't need it. But back then, we all thought we did. Nowadays, all of these lighter shoes, trail runners, are immensely popular for people who are hiking the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, Continental Divide Trail. So there's a difference though. Those shoes have kind of a little bit heavier of a sole, but they also aren't as cushiony as what I need. Remember, I'm walking 3,500 miles, give or take, across the United States on a highway, on a road, on a shoulder, and there's a lot more trauma to your foot and pounding. And so I needed a shoe that was very cushiony. So I went with a running type shoe, because shoes themselves for running have to absorb that impact of a long distance runner or just your average runner. My next issue was wear and tear. A lot of these shoes, and you see them everywhere, these tennis shoes that cost $50, $60, $25, $50, $75, even the most expensive ones have a very thin, soft sole on them. Well, those things wear out very quickly. So I needed something that was going to handle, if I could get around 450 to 500 miles, it would work great. I looked through several different types of shoes, researched them. I had another pair that I used in Mexico, and they worked great. But again, they didn't last as long because the sole was thin. So what I decided on was I got a pair of the Hoka speedgoats. And I got 2 pairs of shoes, actually. The first pair I got was, I got them through REI, and originally I was going to go with Merrell's, but the guy there was a runner, long distance runner, and he said that's not what I wanted. And I had a pair of them that I bought like a couple weeks before, and REI is great about returns. Even now during the COVID virus, you can mail off and return things. They don't have that time limit that they normally do because the stores are closed. So he took them back, and he got me 2 other shoes. One which was a Speedgoat, and the other one was a Giovata 2, and that was a non-Gore-Tex version that was very light. I'm not sure why he suggested it. It turns out the Giovata, which I eventually returned because I was quite hobbled for about 2 weeks, because nothing against the Hoka Giovata, but it was too narrow for my toes. The toe box was too narrow, and I started getting very serious corns right on my foot, on the outside of my big toe. Extremely painful. So I called REI, and they actually they gave me a full return plus a tax and everything. So that was great. The other shoes that I had were, since I started in February, I was concerned about the weather. And what the salesperson at REI recommended was the Speedgoat, the Gore-Tex version. This is the Gore-Tex version, and it was about 160 bucks. But as you can see, it's a tremendous amount of cushion, very soft and cushiony, but also it had quite a bit of sole. Now, as you can see, the sole itself is pretty much worn out completely on this. This shoe lasted me about almost 500 miles, okay? So, what's good about that? Well, nothing really. I mean, I think honestly, it's good because it lasted that long. It's bad because even though the Vibram soles last longer than a lot of other shoes, I honestly believe this shoe structurally held up to a point where I probably could have gotten 700 or more miles out of it if they had made the sole a little bit thicker. But as we know, in corporate America, it's all about making money and selling more shoes. So they don't want something that's going to last that long. And also the camber of the road when you're walking across the United States, the highways, as you know, are designed for water to run off them. So at the center point where the double yellow is the peak of the road, and then the camber tapers off. And so you were walking at a slight angle. Now, I tried to walk off the road as much as possible on the little bit of gravel, if there is gravel. But the fact is, you're still going to notice, and if you notice here it's worn just on one side because I kind of walk like a duck, you know, and so the outside of my shoes are going to wear a lot more than the inside. But anyway, I don't really have any complaints. These shoes lasted, I would say, 500 miles, and they've been great. As far as the Gore-Tex, they were pretty waterproof. Now, I think towards the end, I mean, anytime you put that much walking on a shoe like this with Gore-Tex, which is a very thin fabric, you're going to notice some degeneration of the Gore-Tex. So I did notice a little bit of leaking, but overall, the shoe was remarkable. It was great. And what's nice about Gore-Tex is that it's warm. It's so I was hiking in 15, 20 degree weather, in the rain, in some of the snow, and it held up great, and it was warm. It was a nice shoe. I love the shoe. I don't think I need the Gore-Tex anymore because I'm getting close to being in summer. It's right now beginning the second week of May. This is the first really warm day, so I'm very excited about that. It is going to rain, but I don't mind the rain that much. I don't mind walking in wet feet. Again, I don't think the Gore-Tex is going to work 100% in heavy rain, especially once I get a couple hundred miles on it. So what I did was I contacted REI, and I ordered the brother to this, which is the non-Gore-Tex version. I should show them. Yeah, that's right. The non-Gore-Tex version. And if you look, they're pretty much the same shoe. Now, I've already got about 100 miles on this one, so you can see compared to the other one, let me see, hold on. Okay. So compared to the one that's really well worn, I've got about 100 miles on this one here. And you can see there is very little wear. A little bit on this outside corner, but I still think I'm going to get a couple 100 miles more out of this one. But this is not waterproof. So why don't I just go with the waterproof ones? Well, one, they're about $20, $25 more, and two, they are warm. So in the summertime, you know, you're going to sweat more with a warmer shoe. Gore-tex is not an anti-perspirant. It doesn't stop you from sweating. A lot of people will buy Gore-tex jackets and go walking when it's 80 degrees and they don't understand why they're wet on the inside. Well, you're sweating, okay? It doesn't stop you from sweating. If it's well ventilated, it'll help, but it's not designed to stop you from sweating. And it's the same thing with footwear. So I believe right now, these are going to be the shoes that I wear, and these are the Hoka speedgoats. You can get them in like this nauseous fluorescent orange or something like this, but they have the Vibram soles. Some people say Vibram, but the Vibram soles, I feel, are not only good on the trails, but they're a denser, thicker, or heavier material that when you're walking on the highway, they're going to give you a little bit more cushion. I also tried to buy some, while I was waiting for these, my other ones were really wearing out. So I went and bought a cheap $30 or $40 pair of Avias from Walmart. And remember, I'm walking during the virus, so not a lot of options for shoe stores, actually none. Walmart. And so I needed a cheap pair of shoes. I bought some Avias, and within, I think, 30 miles, the tread was pretty much gone on one side. It all worn out. It's like walking on butter. It just melted away. And also, they're very cheap. They don't have this lateral structural support that these do. So, yeah, they are expensive. These are about $20, $25 less money. It's still around 140 bucks, which seems a lot. But for me, being 62, walking, it's really critical that I have good shoes. I am suffering right now. I don't think it's plantar fasciitis, but I do have some severe heel inflammation. I don't believe it's from the shoes because it didn't happen to me for the first 400 miles. So I think maybe I got a little lazy and I wasn't stretching as much as I could. And that brings me to the other point. If you're going to, don't, like the saying, a poor carpenter blames his tools. You know, you could have some foot injuries or hip problems or knee problems or ankle problems. And the first thing you want to do is blame your tools, the shoes, when in fact, you may be not stretching enough. And this is what I found. I hate stretching. It's boring. It's somewhat painful. It's just not enjoyable. But I have found that when I'm really diligent on stretching, a lot of these problems go away, or at least they're minimalized. So right now, minimized. We'll go with minimized. Anyway, that's it for my shoe review on the Hokas. Again, they're a great shoe. No, I am not being, look at this. No, I am not being sponsored by Hoka. Yes, if they see the video and want to contact me, my email's below. But I don't plan that they will. There's no reason to sponsor some old guy walking across the United States. But I'm buying them because they're good shoes, paying full price for them, and they seem to be working for me. So the Hoka Speedgoats, I'm going to give 2 thumbs up right now. Now, does that mean I'm going to walk all the way across the country? Let's go back to yes, I'm getting a sponsorship. If that happens, maybe. But I may be open to try something else. Depends on the opportunity, the cash flow, and if for some reason these just aren't working for me. But right now, I've walked a little over 800 miles, and I'm really happy with them. Again, this is not a review for you hiking on the trails, although I think these probably would be great trail shoes too for the traction. But for me, walking on the road, these are really great shoes. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about today, and we'll return you back to your YouTube and for your regular Wednesday Rob and Marvy videos. Thank you.